Today's show is sponsored by Strawberry.me. Looking for work is stressful. In fact, a job search ranks high on the list of top stressors in life, right along with events like divorce. And it's not surprising. When you do a job search, you experience uncertainty, rejection, and likely financial pressure. A good coach can help. Coaches have helped me get a handle on stress. That's why I recommend the personal coaching offered by Strawberry.me. Strawberry.me assesses your needs and connects you with the perfect coach. And you can get started in as little as 4 hours. My coach helped me get back into exercising again. And now I feel not only more at ease at work, but healthier too. Visit strawberry.me/dreamjob. That's strawberry.me/dreamjob. And take charge of your future with the help of a certified coach. Special offer for Dream Job listeners. Get a $50 credit when you use our link at strawberry.me/dreamjob. This is Find Your Dream Job, the podcast that helps you get hired, have the career you want, and make a difference in life. I'm your host, Mac Pritchard. I'm also the founder of Mac's List. It's a job board in the Pacific Northwest that helps you find a fulfilling career. Every Wednesday, I talk to a different expert about the tools you need to get the work you want. You can't rely on your credentials alone when you look for work. You also have to be good at connecting, communicating, and collaborating with others. Yadi Caro is here to talk about how to leverage your soft skills in your job search. She's a Harvard-trained organizational psychologist who teaches career skills to professionals around the world. Yadi also hosts the Hardcore Soft Skills podcast. She joins us from Tampa, Florida. Well, Yadi, here's where I want to start with. What are soft skills exactly?
Well, that's a very complex and also simple question in the sense that soft skills are generally those skills that are not considered necessarily technical, although in some cases they might be technical. But those are the skills that help us deal with people, basically social skills. So skills like communication, public speaking, creative thinking, storytelling, listening. So all those skills that help us do the job effectively and to help us pretty much interact with people. One quick interesting thing that I want to mention is that when the term soft skills came from the military, when they were trying to differentiate between what is a soft versus a hard skill, soft skills were those that did not require interaction with machines.
You anticipated my next question, which was the difference between soft and hard skills. Tell us exactly what hard skills are besides the point you made a moment ago.
Yeah. So hard skills are those that they're also trainable in the sense that they're mostly technical in terms of they require a particular process on how to do a thing. For example, coding could be considered a hard skill because you're required to know center steps and procedures in order to get to achieve a particular objective. So you learn that skill. Also, in terms of manual labor, there's skills in that regard. So soft skills are a little bit more difficult to train or measure, but the premise of what I do with my podcast and with the resources and workshops that I do is to be able to teach people that, hey, negotiation, communication, all those are skills that could be trainable as well.
Why do employers care about these kinds of soft skills?
Yeah, so employers, and even now in the age of AI and technology, it is important to have those soft skills to help us deal with people and deal with customers, deal with deadlines. So all those things that they hire us to do because of our expertise in Excel or in any particular technical area, when it comes to the success of a project or a team, they want to have folks that are able to communicate ideas. They want to have folks who are able to address conflict effectively, who can have that creativity. So it's very important, especially in an age where AI could pretty much do a lot of the technical jobs, that there's still the human aspect of collaboration, of being able to do the job.
Is there a short list of soft skills that always matter to employers, no matter what field you work in?
Yeah. So, well, I could say for myself, there's so many, but when we see the trends and see recent reports from skills that are important for the market, we have problem solving, we have communication, and particularly listening. Storytelling is a big one because in order to be able to communicate an idea effectively, employers love to have people who can tell a story about the project, of about what we're working on. Also, in terms of creative thinking, and planning is also a big one. Planning and productivity, because prioritizing is a skill. And in order to be able to meet deadlines, we need to have those skills to be able to differentiate what do we need to do now and how to get there in an effective manner, in a timely manner.
In your experience, Yadi, do most people understand what soft skills they have and how to talk about them when they're doing a job search?
Not really. And that's one thing that people do. We all see the reports and we realize, like, hey, it's important to have those skills. But what we usually think is that we are either born with them or we're not. For example, I could think, hey, I'm just not a great communicator. I don't love public speaking. That's just not my thing. And a lot of people tend to think, instead of them as skills, we think of them as our traits, as our inherited traits, basically. So there's this mindset that we need to shift, which is, hey, I'm not a great communicator now, but I can learn the steps in order to become a better speaker, or I can learn how to brainstorm effectively with my team members. So usually we don't think of those as skills, or even that we can achieve those, or be a good negotiator, or be able to manage conflict effectively. So we can all learn those. Is shifting that mindset that we can actually learn them and become really good at them.
Well, let's talk about the soft skills listeners have and how they can apply them to their job search. And there are four soft skills that you recommend every candidate tap into when looking for work. And those are connection, communication, collaboration, and correction. And I want to walk through each one and talk about what they are, how they help you in your job search, and how to use them well. Let's start with the first one on your list, and that's connection. What do you mean, Yadi, when you talk about connection as a soft skill, and how do you use it when you're looking for work?
Yeah, so connection can include many things. It includes our ability to basically connect with ourselves and connect with the others. So, for example, when we connect with ourselves, that incorporates the skill of self assessment, evaluating ourselves. What am I good at? What am I not good at? So, it's important to recognize those things and having that self awareness. When it comes to that connection with others, it's our abilities to basically interact, and our abilities to, when we, for example, are looking for a job, or when we join a new company, how do we connect with the new team members? How do I network effectively with them? So connection is basically, and those four areas that you mentioned, they're basically families of skills that we need to be able to master in order to improve in our job. So connection is all about connection with ourselves and being able to interact effectively with others.
So, what do good connectors do exactly, both when it comes to self-reflection uh, and building relationships with others? What habits are they practicing in those two areas?
Yeah, great question. So when it comes to the connection, we tend to think that, for example, it's about reaching out to others and talking about ourselves, when it's the opposite. Good connectors, we ask questions to others. We want to be able to understand others. We want to listen. So a good connector will reach out and be genuinely curious about other person's job or other person's good, the things that excite them. So connectors are people who are curious about others. So that's a important step in order to really achieve that connection with others. Because others, when we connect with people, others, we we enjoy talking about ourselves. So the more we ask questions to the other folks, then we are able to create a better connection.
What do people who are bad connectors do? I expect it's inadvertently, but what bad habits do you see them practice when it comes to connection?
Yes, when it comes to bad connections or reaching out to people, and for example, not leaving a good mark will be when we reach out to folks and just ask them for stuff without offering something first. So we reach out to people like, hey, can you do either this introduction? And if we recall, we haven't offered people something first. So connectors who just reach out to you when they need something, that doesn't leave a good mark. So it's always important to think that how can I give value to others regularly, either with my current network or when I reach out to folks on LinkedIn in a social network. Just think of yourself, how can you be of value to others and not think, what can I get from other people?
This is terrific, Yadi. We're going to take a break. Stay with us. When we come back, Yadi Caro will continue to share her advice on how to leverage your soft skills in your job search. Here's something I'd like us Americans to get better at this year. Something that our European friends beat us at in spades. It's speaking more than one language. And you can do it sooner than you think with Babbel. Babbel's tips and tools are inspired by the real-life stuff you actually need when communicating. With a focus on conversation, you'll be ready to talk wherever you go. I studied Spanish in Mexico City one summer when I was in college, and a few years ago, I took a sabbatical in Madrid for a month and signed up for daily Spanish classes. Using Babbel this past year has helped me keep and improve the Spanish I learned in Mexico and Spain. Because if you don't use a language, you will lose it. Whether you're learning a new language or you want to improve what you know, Babbel can help. Find out for yourself. Let's get more of you talking in a new language. Babbel is gifting our listeners 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/dreamjob. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/dreamjob. Spelled BABBEL.com/dreamjob. Babbel.com/dreamjob. Rules and restrictions may apply. Have you ever been asked this in a job interview? Tell me about a time when you didn't agree with your boss. What would you say? This is what's called a behavioral interview question, and it's a common tactic. Employers use this kind of question to explore your fit for a job based on your past experience. It can be an easy question to answer if you have the right strategy. I show you how to answer these gotcha questions in our free Max List guide, 100 Behavioral Interview Questions You Need to Know. To get your copy, visit maxlist.org/questions. You'll also learn 4 simple steps for answering any behavioral interview question. Again, that's maxlist.org/questions. You can count on getting these questions in your next interview. Why not get the answers before you walk into the interview room? Go to maxlist.org/questions. We're back in the Max List studio. I'm talking with Yadi Caro. She's a Harvard-trained organizational psychologist who teaches career skills to professionals around the world. Yadi also hosts the excellent show Hardcore Soft Skills Podcast. She joins us from Tampa, Florida. Now, Yadi, before the break, we were talking about how to leverage your soft skills in your job search. And in our first segment, we talked about what soft skills are, the difference between soft and hard skills. And we dove into 4 soft skills you encourage people to use in a job search. And the first one was connection. The second soft skill you recommend leveraging in a job search is communication. What kind of communication work do you recommend a candidate do, Yadi?
Yeah, so when it comes to the communication aspect, is learning how to tell your story. So, for example, thinking as you first connect with yourself, you realize what are you good at, and do some self assessment. Then you need to identify how do I communicate who I am as a person or as a professional to others. So try to find like a quick one liner in terms of the problem you regularly solve. Like when you meet folks, for example, if I say, hey, I'm a scrum master, people may not realize what that means and they think like, what do you mean a scrum master? So instead, if you say, I help teams achieve complete projects and I coach them on best processes. So they start connecting with that. They start realizing what's the significance of that, and then you can talk further about the job title, etc. So just think when you communicate to others with potential employers or just potential colleagues, you express to them what is the problem that you solve. That's one aspect of communication that's very important to incorporate in the job search.
What's your best advice for how to tell your story to employers if you're uncertain about how to do this, if you're not clear, for example, if you're about what you offer or where you want to go? How do you get the answers to those questions and turn it into a compelling story that will be attractive to employers?
Yes. So once you assess, identify yourself, identify what are your skills, think of an action verbs that you want to incorporate. Like you either solve, you strategize, you help assess. So think of a couple action verbs based on your previous job experience. Also think, who are you serving? Who do you regularly serve? Do you work with teams? Do you work with customers? Do you work for CEOs? So think about the verbs and then think about who is the audience that you usually serve. And once you have at least those key aspects, you can start to tell that very short story about, hey, I serve customers, and expand a little bit more on what is it that you serve the customers on. So just to be able to narrate that story, think of the action and think of the who are the people that you serve in that and particular roles that you've had before or that you wish to have.
How does being able to tell the story of what you do and what you offer help you stand out from your competitors in a job search?
It's very important because in it helps people understand what do you do and what you're passionate about, because usually what I've seen when it comes to people introducing themselves and in a world now that there are so many different um, job titles, it helps you differentiate yourself because you're telling what you do. You're defining a the outcome of what you do, not just stating your job title. So that just with having that and being able to narrate that part briefly, you differentiate yourselves from the rest who are just saying, I'm a business analyst. But that could mean so many things. So having that particular quick elevator speech of your action and who you serve, it's very powerful to help you differentiate.
The third of four soft skills that you recommend candidates leverage in a job search is collaboration. What do you have in mind here, Yanni?
Yeah, collaboration. When it comes to we think of collaboration as something we do in existing jobs, and it is absolutely when we have to collaborate to achieve an outcome. When it comes to the job search, it's just simply reaching out to others. It's just being able to recruit others in your effort to find a particular role, and also be willing to help others. Like, even if, let's say, there's opportunities that come up that may not necessarily be the job, if there are opportunities to come up to collaborate and support organizations, support specific events, we should start thinking of those things about how can I collaborate with others, and that could translate into a great opportunity that could result in your dream job.
Say more about that. How can collaboration create opportunities that could be your dream job?
Yeah. So, for example, if you are if you are looking for particular roles in a specific industry, for example, the other day I was in project management professionals. And there was this guy that I met that he was coming in and he's like, well, I'm not so sure about this organization and I'm not even sure if I can be a project manager. But hey, I want to come in and meet some folks and I'm interested in helping out too. As we were talking with him and others, he started talking about his experience in terms of, doing some marketing here or working on a ship and things along those lines. And we were saying, hey, but you're already a very experienced project manager because you've already managed when it comes to marketing, you've already managed particular initiatives, or your experience in the ship indicates that you are great and that you are able to work with a lot of people. So you are already a project manager. So he realized that that's it helped him realize his story, but it also created opportunities for him because the one of the president of the chapter was there saying, "Hey, we actually need folks who can help us with marketing." And he's like, "Hey, I can help with that." So that could certainly open up a lot of opportunities for him, knowing new people, and he was there looking for new opportunities for work. So that's just an example of the ability to open yourself up to engage with others and also being open to collaborate because new opportunities could come up as well.
The fourth and final soft skill you encourage applicants to leverage in a job search is correction. What kind of correction are we talking about?
Yeah, so continuous improvement is something that we need to think when we are within the job or when we are job searching. Because let's say it's very frustrating when we go in and we start submitting, resumes daily and we don't get any responses. So correction is the ability to think what is the process that I followed for this particular job or how the interview go and how can I make this better next time? Or hey, let me try a different approach. The approach of sending multiple resumes may not work. I'll try a new method. Let me go ahead and just reach out to some folks in LinkedIn, hiring managers, try to schedule some time, or people that are within that company that I want to work in, and engage with them and see how do they got that particular job. So it's just thinking of ways of I've been doing the same thing for a while and it's not working. So I need to correct this course and try something different and evaluate from there.
Is this about asking for feedback, Yadi, or is it about learning from others, or perhaps a combination of the two?
A combination of the two and more of course, because we could ask for feedback. For example, if we have that openness to talk to someone about how did the interview went and they could give you feedback after, let's say, you were rejected. Perhaps some people may be open to do that, but also in terms of evaluating that self-evaluation and identifying, hey, I've been trying to do this resume submittal for 6 months and it's not been working. So I think I need to try a different approach. So it's a combination of being open for feedback from people and also being aware of what areas do we need to try and improve and do a little experiments as well.
Well, it's been a great conversation. Tell us, Yadi, what's next for you?
Wow. So yeah, thank you for asking. So I'm currently doing a lot of research because I'm working on an upcoming book in terms of summarizing all the lessons I have learned and through my research, through the education and working with different teams. So it will be all about actionable advice on improving on all these different soft skills. And continuing with the podcast, and also as I am a native Spanish speaker, I will be launching very soon a Spanish version of my podcast. So that will be, you could find more information in hardcoresoftsskillspodcast.com.
That it is a terrific show in English, and I'm excited that you're going to offer it in Spanish as well. And you mentioned the URL for the show, hardcoresoftsskillspodcast.com. We'll be sure to include that in the show notes. And I know you also invite listeners to connect with you on LinkedIn. And when you do reach out to Yadi there, please consider mentioning you heard her on Find Your Dream Job. Now, Yadi, given all the great advice you've shared today, what's the one thing you want a listener to remember about how to leverage your soft skills in your job search?
Yeah, so many things. But if I were to pick one thing, is to recognize that no matter the skill, when we look at a particular quote unquote soft skill, we can improve on any of them. So if we think, hey, I'm not a communicator, we are all great communicators. We are just do differently in different, different ways, and we just have different approaches. And but we can always improve on every single soft skill. So it's important to recognize that it's not traits that you were born with; it's things that we can always improve and practice upon.
Next week, our guest will be Patricia Ortega. She's a career coach who helps you forge a new path, find a revitalized purpose, and make a positive impact. Patricia also hosts the Uncommon Career podcast. Many people are unhappy at work. One reason this can happen, you say yes to the wrong opportunities. And you do this not only once, but again and again. Join us next Wednesday when Patricia Ortega explains why you keep taking the wrong job. Until next time, thanks for letting us help you find your dream job. This show is produced by Max List. Susan Thornton Huff schedules our guests and writes our newsletter. Lisa Kislenberry Anderson manages our social media. Our sound engineer and editor is Matt Fiorillo. Dawn Mole creates our transcripts. And our music is by Freddie Trujillo. This is Mac Pritchard. See you next week. Because I run a job board, I talk to applicants almost every day. And many of the people I meet make the same mistake. They have no clear job search goals. So they apply everywhere, every day, all day long. You might think it's smart to send lots of applications. After all, it's a numbers game, right? It's not. The more you narrow your search, the easier everything gets, and the happier you'll be in your next job. Stop chasing every lead. Instead, focus on what you really want. Now, figuring out your goals can be hard, but we have a MaxList resource that can help. Finding focus in your job search. Go to maxlist.org/focus. Our free step-by-step MaxList guide will help you create your own job search goals. Get your copy today. Visit maxlist.org/focus. Again, that's maxlist.org/focus.